Well, hello, this is the final boss, and this is Scriptshadow's Logline Throwdown. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I'm excited to read through them. It's just loglines tonight. So we'll go through them, give some thoughts on the loglines, put our vote in, and then we'll see who wins the next week and if we guessed correctly. But yeah, hopefully this will help other writers like yourself work on your loglines. I know I struggle with loglines in my own writing. It's always good to edit to get better at writing. All right, so personal statement. Drama. When her family hires an independent admissions consultant to help craft Ivy League worthy college application essays, a Chinese American high school student must fight to control her life story and protect her identity. Okay, so this one's interesting. I think the things that seem interesting is this kind of, this evil interview. I think that's like an interesting thing where, this person's extracting something of value. But the thing that doesn't really click for me is the fact that, some random high school student's life story is going to be something worth stealing. And like identity theft, that maybe has a bit more stakes, but I don't see the stakes. I don't know why like that matters, right? Maybe like putting in the log line, hey, Chinese American high school with like a vibrant past is at risk of losing it, but then even then I don't really have that the stakes just don't feel high enough to make me really be invested. So I'm gonna say pass on that one. Pedal to the metal. Romantic comedy. Maggie finds herself. You gotta read a romantic comedy logline like that. Maggie finds herself the target of her sister's wedding thirsty bridesmaids after unintentionally catching the bouquet, messing up the bride to be queue. Um, I mean, silly, but I don't see where the romantic side of it. It's sort of like, okay, well, then her bridesmaids are gonna get mad and attack her, but is there some, um, somebody who caught the garter that's like, gonna be the fated lover? Um, it also is just very, like, whenever you're using like an artificial situation, like a bouquet catch or a garter catch or whatever, um, to like create your stakes and to create like people going crazy, it's always going to feel a little bit more just silly and less real, right? Like, cuz in real life no one cares. People are like, "Oh, haha, like you got it." But, there's not like this level of stakes. So whenever you try to infuse stakes around it, it just feels artificial. So I don't know, I feel like that one feels a little too forced conflict for me. So I'm going to say pass on that one as well. Broken Vessels. Thriller. A book collector replies to an ad for one of the rarest books in existence, only to be, oh, it's a thriller, I gotta, only to be held captive by the seller, who makes the jaw-dropping claim that the two of them have been locked in a centuries-long battle over the murder of his wife. Wow. That feels like it's 10 different stories just mushed into one. Like, I don't know why we had to be so specific about the book collector. uh, does he not realize that he's centuries old? It's pretty easy to be like, okay, I can think back 20 years, I can think back 40 years. I'm not centuries old. Um, yeah, that feels like it has a lot. Like, it seems like a cool concept, but it has so many things you have to get right. It has like so many balls you have to knock out of the park. You have to hit a grand slam on every single one of those crazy kind of bets that writer is making for it to come across and work. Oh my goodness, I there you go. Didn't have it shown up. That I would say that it's a little concerning. I just knowing that these are, you know rougher screenplays. I would say that I would, if I was a reader reading this, I would be like, oh no, because I know these are really tough things to pull off, and it would just indicate that, oh man, this person bit off a really challenging project, and the log line's not super clear. It's already a little bit confusing, and so if you're having trouble communicating what you're trying to do in your log line, and it's a lot of stuff, um, the screenplay is not going to make it better. It's going to be a lot harder generally. The Dinosaur War. So I will say pass on Broken Vessels. Dinosaur War. In their quest to unearth long lost hidden fossils, America's first two paleontologists and bitter adversaries wage an epic feud that includes bribery, theft, vandalism, and violence. The rivalry intensifies their risk reputations and their lives in an all consuming race to discover new species of dinosaurs. Um, that seems interesting. I think it's a little vague um, in terms of like bribery, theft, vandalism, and violence. Um, the thing that is always tricky, right? Like, because I know there's conflict in the story. The conflict's coming through. But it's sort of like the who are these people and why should I care about why they don't like each other is kind of the question. Like, yeah, paleontologists. I know it's really hard to get across in a log line, but what makes me that there's that question of what is fascinating about these people that would make me want to watch them for an hour and a half. Um, Paleontologists maybe, but I still think this one stands above some of the others. So I'll say this one as a um, you know advances to the next level, and then we'll see about the other ones. But I think that one's strong. I think it has a clear goal: to discover a new species. It shows that there's stakes. It's like, hey, it's going to go crazy. It's going to escalate. So it's giving me some of these hints, though it doesn't have that specificity. It still feels a little generic, where it doesn't have that like, oh wow, this is why I should really care. The head writer, dark comedy. The schlubby, long-suffering late-night comedy writer's simmering anger and jealousy begin to boil over into madness. Sorry. As he suspects his telegenic A-list boss is trying to replace him. So this feels like a very Joker-esque type thing where it's like someone, is losing kind of their grip on reality and, sort of like the Robert De Niro character in the Joker. He kind of targets his boss and he says, "Oh, it's this guy's fault. Shame, shame on him. He's bad. I don't like him." Um, but that doesn't seem so compelling to me personally. Um, because especially like a schlubby, I mean, I'm guessing that's just kind of like a slouchy, lazy, like someone like that. Like, I don't think they're gonna do something. If you're saying, like, are they gonna do something that extreme to their boss? Like, if they're schlubby, that means they're kind of unmotivated. They're not a threat, right? Like, maybe like an insane genius late night comedy writer begins to suspect his boss. Like, then I'm like, oh, if he's an insane genius, he's probably a killer comedy writer, but he's actually dangerous. I don't feel the danger coming across from this, so I will pass. And so that makes the victor Dinosaur War. So I'm gonna go in the comments, post my vote for Dinosaur War, and it has kind of an not alliterative, but a assonance in the title. Um, and so that counts for something. So yeah, Dinosaur War it is. Check out Scriptshadow. They have a great blog and lots of wonderful writing advice, writing tips if you're in screenwriting and things like that. I love Scriptshadow. I've read it for years, and it never fails. It never disappoints. I almost said it never fails to impress. Yeah, but it never disappoints. Great blog. Go to scriptshadow.net. Check it out. And yeah, Dinosaur War. Congratulations. You're the best of the batch for my reading, at least. Take care. Have a good night.